What we're learning, what quantum physics is teaching us, is time can collapse and you can reduce the amount of time required to get to where you need to go. You don't have to wait for years on end. You don't have to wait a certain amount of time before your results show up. Hi everyone, it's Gull Khan here, your money mindset expert, and I help entrepreneurs to break free from limiting beliefs, to reverse the money shame, and to blast through the money blocks so that they can live a life of limited abundance. So we're going to be talking about what exactly is money and what do we, I know that the people like me who deal with energy, who deal with money, we talk about money is energy and everything's energy and so forth. So I get asked this question a lot of the time. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by what exactly is money in the first place? So I thought let me discuss that in detail today. Let's start with this. What do we mean by money? What's the purpose of money? And what do we mean by the fact that money is just exchange of energies? So let's take it back further and go back when there was a barter system. So where did the concept of money come from? Let's start with that first. Before money was invented, before anything like that existed, we had this, barter system where I would have 2 cows. I would come and give you 2 cows, and in exchange, you would give me a year's worth of wheat. Okay, so you'd give me a year's worth of wheat, and we would, we were all happy. But that wasn't very productive, and it wasn't very good. So later on, a few years down the line, we changed the system from a barter system to, okay, so now we have a bag of gold coins, gold and silver coins. They came into use. So I would give you a bag of gold coins, and then you would give me a year's worth of wheat. Okay. Later on with the system, I'm not going to go too much into the details, but later on that gold system, sort of developed into the complicated banking system that we have now, and we were given notes instead. Instead of having gold coins, we now use bank notes. Okay, that's it. That's where money comes from. So in effect, what you're doing is when you pay for something, you are saying, okay, take this money and I'm going to buy this service or this product from you. That's exactly what you're doing. So there's exchange of services. Okay, that's exactly what's happening. I'm going to give you £10 or £100 or £200 for this bag of groceries, this products that you've made. Like for example, when I go to shopping in Sainsbury's or Asda, I'm buying that stuff and I give them money. That's exchange of energies. Okay, that's exactly what it is. So that's for those people who get confused. Like, what do you mean by that? When we're exchanging services, when we're exchanging money or exchanging anything like that, it's actually exchange of energies. I give you one energy in exchange for another energy. That's all there is to it. Okay, albeit sometimes it's in products, sometimes in services, but in exchange for money. So I have this mastermind, I have other things other products that I sell. Those are exchange of services in exchange for money. Okay, but money is energy and my services are energy. Does that make sense, guys? Hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's what we mean by exchange of energies. Now let's go. Now the next part is, what does it mean then, exchange of energies? How can money be energy? How can you say money is energy? Now this is a concept that a lot of people actually have difficulty wrapping their heads around. And when we say, okay, money is just energy and everything's energy, unless you understand basics of quantum physics, you're going to really have difficulty understanding this concept. So then I thought, okay, let me go a bit further and explain to people what we mean by this. Why is money just energy? Okay, where money is. So let's start with anything. Okay, everything. What is, for example, what are you made up of? Okay, you're made up of skin and organs and so forth, but go a bit deeper. So what is that made up in terms, how much, forget the organs. What are the organs made up of? Okay, organs are made up of different skin cells and whatever. Okay, what are the skin cells made up of? The skin cells are made up of atoms, right? Okay, and so what are the atoms made up of? Atoms are made of subatomic particles. Right? Okay, so what are those subatomic atomic particles made of? They're actually space. Believe it or not, 99.9% of those subatomic particles is just space, the kind of space you find outside in the black space outside of Earth. Okay, so it's pretty much the same matter that's present in 99.9% of the time in these subatomic particles. Only 0.01% is these wave particles. Okay. So then you have the theory of wave and particle. The idea is that when you are focusing on something, when you're looking at something, the wave collapses into a particular particle and develops into reality. Hence what you're seeing, the physical things. For example, when I focus on this phone, the subatomic particles, that form this, the particles, the wave breaks down into particles and makes this form. Okay, when I'm not focusing on it, when I'm not looking at it, it's just potential. It's just wave particles, which is the wave which has the potential to make a phone. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that's making sense. Okay, so basically, I've just explained quantum physics and the basic of it very, very quickly, but I wanted to give you a scientific reason why this is very true. So at its core, every single thing, including myself, the phone, everything, including the spectrum that's visible and the spectrum that's not visible, it's all just waves and particles. It's the duality of wave and particle, which at its core is just energy. So what is wave? Wave is just potential energy. Particle is energy formed in a particular density and forming a particular item, be it a phone, be it hair, be it my laptop, and so forth. Okay, now those are the basics of physics, quantum physics rather, which basically you don't really need to understand. If those concepts go beyond your head, it's absolutely fine. You don't need to understand it for you to accept the fact, for you to understand the fact. Everything at its core is just energy. Okay, that's it. And that includes things you can see, things you can hear, and everything you cannot see and you cannot hear. So this means that if everything's energy, it lends itself very, very nicely to the principle of the three core principles that the law of attraction is based on. One, everything is energy. Okay, if everything at its core is a duality between wave and a particle, wave being a potential reality and particle being the actual reality, and the two just doing this sort of a dance form, then everything is just the dance form between the two. Okay, that also means everything exists on the potentiality plane. Okay, so every possible reality, every possible thing is in its potentiality exists on the wave, in the wave. Okay, it only forms a reality or a particular thing, i.e. when the wave collapses into a particle, when you focus on it. Okay, so you focusing on it makes it what it is. Now, how does this help you in terms of understanding money? Now, the problem is, if you are trained subconsciously to think about certain thing in a particular way, then you focusing on the concept of money is going to have these preconceived ideas, these pre-programmed ideas in terms of looking at money in a particular way. Now, if you look at it in a particular way, guess what? The image you're projecting is what's going to be formed. So if you are programmed to think of money in a negative way, if you're programmed to think of money in the lack of limitation way, if you're programmed to think of money as being absent or being difficult to get or being, or is hard to make, that's what your reality will show you. Okay, your reality is actually it's like a big projection screen. Whatever you see, whatever you have is inside of you is actually projected outside of you. That's why people like me, these energy healers, we keep talking about heal your inside. When you change your inside, reality in the inside, your external reality changes, because once you change this internal focus, it's like having a camera. When you focus on the rubbish, that's the picture that's coming out in the end. But if you can just refocus your camera to actually look at the bright side or the happy side or the good things, that's the picture that will come out, and that's your reality. So money is no different. Okay, money is just it's energy, and it has the potential to be whatever you want it to be. Unfortunately, we've been programmed around thinking about it in a particular way, and not just money. We're programmed to think about ourselves in a particular way, how the world works in a particular way, how our relationships are, how men are, how women are. The old thing, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, or something like that. Every concept comes from this. How we view things is how the external reality is shown to us. The external reality, the universe, just shows to us what we already believe it to be. So the way to change your external reality, the way to change your money situation, is to change your insides first. Now, I used to believe this idea that it takes time to change, and it takes time to this to happen. And over the course of the last few years, working especially with a lot of energy and doing a lot of work with a lot of people, and doing a lot of my research on quantum physics and looking at the works of someone amazing, by the way, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love his works. If you get a chance to go read his books or check out his work, it's amazing. I love him. So the conclusion that I've come to is you can actually collapse time, but this is not easy. Okay, it's easy to blame the outside world. It's easy to think things don't work. It's hard to do inside work. So those people who are willing to take the initiative, to go through the growth pains and grow from the inside out, will see they can collapse time and make things happen like this. Miracles show up. I had recently had. So recently, I don't think I've shared this yet. One of my clients she's in my mastermind, my ETC. Everybody in my mastermind gets ETC for free. So we did a clearing in the ETC around self-worth and one of my energy clearings. And when we did the energy clearing, even though she's a mastermind, she's doing phenomenally well. The energy clearing just gave her the little push. And what we found was she recently shared that she made $9,000 or 9,000 euros. I can't remember which one it is. And she's going to be making that the next few weeks. And that came to her spontaneously within a week. Okay, now that was absolutely amazing. It really, really is. It's absolutely fantastic. But why did that happen? So that was a lot more than she was working in her job. Now, why she was able to attract 9,000 euros within a week's time or whatever was because you don't have to wait for years on end. You don't have to wait a certain amount of time before your results show up. What we're learning, what quantum physics is teaching us, if we are willing to go inside and do the internal work and collapse our idea of how the reality works and actually collapse our internal reality first and then literally form a new reality from the inside out, time can collapse and you can reduce the amount of time required to get to where you need to go. Now, I've been doing a lot of, and I have been absolutely a lot. I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of researching, a lot of work around this collapsing time idea because I find that fascinating because it is absolutely true. Why should it take you 10 years to get to somewhere or 5 years to get to somewhere where it can take you a year? And even the year would not even take you a year. It can be instantaneous if you are able to change your internal reality that quickly. Unfortunately, we have this we're so hardwired to our current reality. We are so hardwired into our current way of thinking in a particular way that we can't accept the idea that we can collapse time or we can have our instantaneous manifestations of our desires because we are not there yet. I think we are as a species, the collective consciousness is evolving. We're on the brink of evolution, the next evolution leap, when we will get to the point when we start realizing, okay, we are the manifestors and we are the co-creators. We can actually collapse time and have things manifest for us like this rather than having to do the slow pace. It'll be the difference between manifesting the way, the current way and the manifesting that's coming in the near future would be the similar to the snail mail, which is through the post, and emails. Before, when we used to want to communicate with somebody, we sent a letter through the post, which is just as effective, but it took time, a few days to arrive to wherever the destination was. Compare that now to email. We send it instantly, it's arrived at the other end. Okay, sometimes in the junk box, in the wrong place, but still arrives, right? This is the beauty of evolution. Okay, and I really truly believe we're on the brink of a new era, a new evolution. And this evolution is not external; it's going to be evolution within. When we collectively understand and grasp this idea of what it means to be living and be a co-creator and living with the duality of a particle and a wave. If you can collapse time, you can have anything. Now, if you are willing to accept this idea and know that, okay, your internal blocks are what's creating these issues with money, if that would be somebody who can go inside them and say, okay, where are my blocks? What blocks do I have? How can I collapse them? How can I get rid of them? Collapse my current internal reality and form a new one. Instantaneously, if you can do that quickly or instantaneously, your external reality would reflect it and it would show more money. It has to. There is no way around it. Because the external is just a reflection of what's going on inside. The problem is too many of us are focusing on the outside and we pay lip service to what's going on and say, oh yeah, I know the internal reflects the external, blah, blah, blah. But you're not really paying attention. You are not paying attention. The internal is absolutely is reflected in the outside, but you have to work on the inside and to get to grasp with this idea that money is one, exchange of energies, and two, it's just energy, but it's something that you can absolutely gain. It can be made instantaneously and can be made very, very quickly. We have examples here, people who so not necessarily intentionally, some of them have actually accidentally ended up being on this path where they've aligned themselves with the spiritual laws, have gone in and changed their internal programming quickly and made money. Now you find that people who are young, you see young entrepreneurs, they find that a lot quicker. Why? Because the older you are, it's not that you are not capable of creating wealth. It's because the more older you are more hardwired into your current way of thinking. Now, something which you need to understand, I'll do another live on this completely, on how the neurons work and how you're hardwired into a particular reality. But the problem is, the more, there's an old acronym, the neurons that fire together, wire together. So the older you are, the more you're set in your ways, the more you think in a certain way, the more you believe certain things exist in a certain way, the more your brain thinks that's the truth, that's how the reality is, and that's how it gets hardwired to thinking in a particular way. That's why it's harder for you to actually change your reality. Bring in these young entrepreneurs, these 16-year-olds, these 12-year-olds, these 18-year-olds, these 20-year-olds who are not hardwired for as long a period as you and I may have been, and therefore they can go inside, collapse the internal reality, form a new one, and guess what? Get instantaneous results, and they're millionaires by the age of 20 or 23. Okay, there are so many examples of that. That's not a coincidence. Now, that does not mean that people like you and I who are over 40, we can never achieve that. Absolutely, you can. You can absolutely achieve it, but you have to understand what's going on first. First, you have to accept the idea that money is energy. I've just explained to you how that is, and then work out where are you hardwired. Why are you thinking about it in a certain way? And remember, you are. Now, I talk about money blocks. What are money blocks? Your money blocks are your way of thinking. Money behaves in a certain way, money is a certain way, or you have this internal subconscious dialogue which is very negative about money. Now, if you are having this negative subconscious dialogue with money, that's another conversation another day. Money will react in a certain way as well. The best way is to go inside, literally find out what your blocks are, see what is your money story, and collapse it. Okay, now when you do this, I didn't realize I was doing this. With my energy clearings, I do this automatically and I hadn't got a clue. Now, the reason I'll give you an idea as well, the reason why I went on this research rampage was, and I did a lot of research recently, by the way, I was thinking, well, why do my energy clearings work? Okay, it's just, think about it, I just use some words, I do a modality, and why do they work? The reason why they work, and I'm sure there are other modalities out there which work just as effectively, I'm sure they are, I'm not going to say that mine is the only one. But the reason why they work is because they help you to collapse your internal reality quickly, okay? Energetically. So I'm energetically able to go inside your energy, take out your blocks, put in the new energy. And because of that, we have collapsed your internal reality. Then we are able to form a new reality inside. When you do that, your external reality has to match up. And that's why my clients get the results they do. And it's the phenomenal results. They really are. And I was sitting there and talking to my brother, and I realized where I was just literally in 2016 and where I am now in 2019, I couldn't believe where I am. In the last 3 years, I've got a multiple six-figure business. I've been featured on live radio shows and podcasts and blogs and wherever else. And I've been a keynote speaker. I've had a conference in Maldives and so forth. So I've had all these things happen to me in a very, very short span of time. And it seems like a long time, but it's not. But why was I able to do that? Because I collapsed my internal reality, and I'm constantly doing it. I'm constantly going inside, okay, what needs to collapse and how can I do this? And when you collapse your internal reality and form a new one, you are actually, what you're doing is collapsing time, the amount of time required to get from A to B. Instead of going from A to B, which may be maybe 100 miles away, you take a short route and take another one, and you go, okay, let me take a quick jump. And instead of driving from A to B, you take a plane and you get there maybe in half the time. This is what working with energy does, and that's why energy healing, energy work is so effective. But you need to understand this point. Yeah, I hope today's training was helpful for you. I hope it was useful to you. If you are interested in knowing more about it, I'm doing a live 5 days Millionaire Mindset Makeover Challenge. In one of the days, I will be doing a live energy clearing also, and you'll get to experience what I talk about in terms of the collapsing time business and why that's effective. Because when you do an energy clearing, and if you do it effectively, you will actually feel the physical symptoms of the energy clearing, which is just a physical validation that it's working for you. Okay, even if it's just a headache or you get migraine or something like like that, or sometimes shivers or cold, whatever the physical symptoms are. It's just a physical validation that the energy clearance are working. And just a little disclaimer for those people who are doing affirmations. People who do affirmations and vision work and whatever else, and they get disheartened because it doesn't, they don't see the external reality change. The reason why you don't see the external reality changes quickly is because it's not working. It's not because the external reality isn't changing, but it changes slowly. What happens with these energy clearings that I do is it collapses time. So things happen a lot more quicker. And when they happen a lot more quicker, you see a difference in your reality a lot quickly. Okay, and that's oh my God, things are working. I'm not saying that vision words don't work. I actually use them in my practice. I'm not saying affirmations don't work. I use them in my practice, but there's a place for everything. But the first thing you need to do is actually break the reality first. Break down the internal reality. Then when you form the new reality with the aid of vision boards and your affirmations, that's when miracles happen, people. That's when miracles happen. If you're just using vision boards, if you're just using affirmations, if you're just using artificially thinking positively, you're in the snail's pace. You're in the snail's race, basically. You're doing it at the snail's pace, and you're doing things very, very slowly. And a lot of people get disheartened, and therefore they leave the practice, and they end up not changing their reality in the first place. The beauty of coming to work with someone like me, or doing it in this sort of container of as I call it, the container that I have of people, we have a morphic generic field around us, and our collective energies work together to collapse our internal realities. And when your internal reality collapses, by the way, it's painful at times. I'm not going to joke with you. At times it's painful. At times it's very confusing. At times you're not sure what's going on. At times things start falling apart and you don't know what's going on. Okay, that's okay. That's when we are there. You need to have a supportive group which is there, which is there to support you, which is there to protect you. That's when miracles are going to show up. At times things don't make sense. Your own mind goes blank and you're not sure what's going on. That's fine. That's an indication that your internal reality is collapsing. You're collapsing time. Okay, that also means with the aid of the right work, with the right mentorship, and with the right group support, you can actually form a new reality, okay, which is reflective of what you desire. We will be using vision boards and affirmations and the right sort of mirror work, because I do a lot of mirror work as well, by the way. So using the mirror work and all the tools that I have in my bag to create the reality, it's that much faster, and that's why it works. If you're not familiar with what the kind of things I'm talking about, come along to this 5-day challenge, experience what I talk about, experience the kind of things I do. And I do say unconventional things. I am not going to be apologetic about it. I'm not the conventional guru. I'm not your conventional law of attraction guru, because I don't talk about rubbish. Okay, what the things I want to talk about is scientific facts. The things I will share with you are proven tools and technologies. The things I talk about you are odd, but they work. Okay, I'm not going to be sitting there and tell you what everyone else tells you. I don't. And I don't speak at the normal pace either. I speak very fast because I have a very fast-paced brain. Okay, I do speak very fast, I do. But because I think so quickly, I have a very, very fast-paced brain. But that's because I love you so much and I want you to get results. So I hope you enjoyed today's live. I'll see you guys very soon.